It's game week, Georgia fans. There are new players stepping into the starting rotation. There are players that have already played a big role stepping into the starting rotation. And there are players that used to be starters that have now since moved on to the NFL. We're going to talk about all three today on the Locked On Bulldogs podcast.
You are Locked On Bulldogs, your daily podcast on the Georgia Bulldogs. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Locked On Bulldogs. Thanks for making us your first listen of the day, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. You know we need Game Time.
It's about to be game time, Clint.
By the way, I already let the people know we're looking for them Kentucky tickets, so get a hold of your boys.
Just let your boys know.
Let your boys
reach out to you boys. We'd love to.
But if
we'd
not,
love to come
go to
hang
Game
out.
Time. We're going to talk about more of them in a moment. Today we got three things to talk about, and it's Daniel. It's good to be. It's good to be on a Monday.
Yes, sir.
Knowing that Saturday is coming.
Saturday's on the way.
Knowing that Thursday is coming.
Oh,
that
Florida's going to lose.
Is coming. Florida going to lose. Daniel, that QB who's going to start instead of Cam Rising, he was fine in the bowl game they played. He was fine.
Or I or my aunt Janet could start at QB for Utah, and Florida's still going to get beat. Okay.
Still sucks. So we got Thursday, we got Friday, then we got Saturday and Sunday and Monday. It don't stop. We are here, and it's game week for us. We're going to have all previews for our game against Tennessee Martin. Yes, we will have a preview for it. And no, don't hate us for doing a preview on it. It might be truncated. Like it might be,
listen,
a segment or so.
There's still things to be excited about. There's still things to be nervous about. There's still things you shouldn't sleep on. There's still plenty of stuff to say about this game, but not today, Clint. Let's focus on our team. Let's focus in-house.
Three things. One, new names coming in that weren't there last year in a starting role or in a rotational role. Two, biggest returning producer who is coming back for Georgia, and why are we excited for them? And lastly, who has the biggest shoes to fill? So, Daniel, I ask you.
Okay.
Let's start with new names, names that weren't there last year, but they're stepping up. Who's the biggest one to you of these new names?
I'm going to give you mine because I suspect it's different than yours. We've not exchanged notes here, so the mind meld might be in full effect. We might be in mid-season form already. By the way, sorry about the locks last week.
That's on us.
That's on us. It's on us. We learned some things. We're gonna make adjustments. We're gonna make adjustments. Okay. I'm gonna give you mine. It's on the offensive side of the ball. His name is Ernest Green. Ernest Green's the biggest new name.
Full effect, by the way.
Mind meld. So I'm gonna talk for 2 minutes. You come up with another one.
I'm right here.
Ernest Green, very highly touted kid. We've talked about him a lot this offseason.
Yes.
He's stepping into obviously a critical role, left tackle position. And more so than that, the offensive line is so stable. It's so locked in. You got Xavier Truss, you got Cedric Van Pran, you've got Tate Ratledge, and you've got Amarius Mims. Those four guys are so rock solid as a quartet on the offensive line, but we've talked about it many times on this podcast before. Four great offensive linemen means virtually nothing in football. More so than any other position, offensive line, you're only as strong as your weakest link in the chain. You're only as strong as the cohesion, the way they play together matters more at that position than it does at virtually any other position. And so Ernest Green's productivity and his ability to step in and fill in that role becomes even more important because all he can do is diminish or accentuate the effect of the four other elite offensive linemen that we have. And so he is my biggest new name. He's the guy I will be most excited to watch this Saturday and subsequent Saturdays in the fall because not only is he going to impact Carson Beck, not only is he going to impact guys like Dejan Edwards in the backfield, but he's going to impact those 4 other offensive linemen standing next to him.
Daniel, you're exactly right. He is going to be a stalwart over on that left tackle position. Amarius Mims is already on the right side. Everywhere else, we're going fine. Remember when we had a problem with offensive tackle that we needed to slide out a guard to play tackle, Daniel? Remember those days?
I do. You remember when that guard that we slid out to play tackle is now the tackle for the San Diego Chargers? He was drafted in like the 6th round or some nonsense.
Franchise left tackle that hasn't given up sacks. Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah. Cool.
Here's my name. I think that's a great name. Here's my name. And it's actually a 2-for-1 special. It is on the offensive side of the ball. Ooh. I think defense gets so much run that a lot of guys, there's a lot of returning production on the defensive side of the ball. We did lose a few, notable few, but there's a lot of returning production. I'll give you 2 names, and one is instant because of what just happened in the running back room and the very, very ill-timed injury that happened. There's never a good time for injury, but it seems like both of them being hit at the same time. And that's the freshman. Yes, the freshman, Roderick Robinson. Rod. If you seen this kid's high school film, if you've seen him from California, maybe you haven't yet, go back and watch it.
Nobody good comes from California, Clint. You don't ever get any good players from California. I'll tell you that.
No one from that area has come in and lit college football on fire, Daniel.
Nay. I say nay.
Oh, wait. I think because of what's happened, I think the freshman is going to get run, Daniel. It's clear and evident. I mean, he has to get run. We are down 3 running backs are not healthy right now. 2 are. He's one of them.
That's not great.
Okay. He's going to get some run, and I'm excited to see him. I think he's going to have an impact this year, and I think going forward, he's going to need to be leaned on. And so I give you that name out of kind of desperation. But the second name I'm going to give you is a new face to the entire program. He's not young. He's not a freshman. But Dominic Lovett is going to, by the end of the year, might be the best wide receiver on this team and surpass Ladd McConkey. I said might be. Ladd, I have all the respect in the world for Ladd, but this kid could do it. And so I think these 2, especially with what Bub wants to do in the passing game, I think having a stable force, again, we've talked about, he makes all the routes. There's not a part of the tree that he cannot run. And if that's the case, he's going to have lots and lots and lots of reps. We already know this. He's got the size, he's got the skill, he's got the hands for it, and the tenacity. He likes eating off the floor like the rest of the dogs. So those are the 2 names I'm giving you, 2-for-1 special. We're going to come back after this, and we're going to give you the biggest returning producer who we're most excited about that is still on this team. But first, we have these. And these, Daniel, are, in fact, Athletic Brewing Company. Daniel, these brews are non-alcoholic beers. Okay?
Yes,
they're non-alcoholic brews. They're fantastic. And now is the time for a game changer. And this week, brought to you by Athletic Brewing Company. Much like, I don't know, maybe one of the guys we just said, Ladd McConkey, who can take the top off of a defense in one pass. Maybe Ernest Green, who is going ahead and dominate whatever SEC outside.
You think you can't change a game from an offensive tackle position, Clint? You think you can't change a game from that position? I'm sorry. Ask what happened in the championship game where we brought in football.
Talk to me about how football works. Athletic Brewing Company has completely changed the non-alcoholic beer game. They make non-alcoholic beers that actually taste good, full of flavor, well-crafted, just like full-strength beer. The brews are great tasting and award-winning and beat out full-strength beers in global competition. That's quite a feat to beat out full-fledged.
You're going up against alcohol versus no alcohol. You make that thing legitimately great tasting to beat out the alcoholic beers.
You win.
You remember when non-alcoholic beer, it's like you had one option, and it just was absolute
bad
garbage water.
This is different. It has tons and tons of flavors. You can find Athletic Brewing Company's non-alcoholic brews at store near you or buy online at athleticbrewing.com. First-time customers can use Locked On and get 15% off your first online order. That's Locked On at checkout for 15% off at athleticbrewing.com. Near beer. Exclusions and conditions apply. Athletic Brewing Company, fit for all times.
Clint,
all right, Daniel.
We did biggest new name.
By the way, your name's Daniel. My name's Clint.
Hey, welcome to the show. Happy to have you here. Subscribe. That's what we would love for you to do.
Okay, great.
Biggest new names, we gave it to you.
Yes.
This is almost an unfair category. Biggest returning producer, like the guy that's the most significant returner.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just open your eyes and look around, Clint. How are you going to narrow this down to one? But you have the floor, so I'll allow you to go first.
I have no idea. I think I'm going to stay on offense one more time, Daniel.
Okay.
And this is the name that, again, I think will make or break everything that happens on offense. Yes, I said it. It's not Carson Beck. It's not Kendall Milton. It's not Amarius Mims. It's not a wide receiver. And it's not Brock Bowers.
What's he talking about, friends? What's he talking about?
I'm talking about Cedric Van Pran at center because he's the
most.
best.
You mean the most important signing that Georgia had this offseason when he decided to come back?
That's it. Because
unfinished business.
he has unfinished business, and he's going to look out. And Carson Beck, inevitably Carson Beck will miss a call, just like Stetson Bennett did when he was getting into the system. There were a couple calls he missed. Cedric Van Pran is going to make the calls and check with me. Hey, Carson, what about this guy over here? The protection needs to slide this way. And Carson Beck's going to be like, good eyes, SVP. Way to look, way to know, way to look at the front, know where people are. He's a student of the game. He has solidified in the run game, in the pass game, and the protection. Everything's going to click with him because as he goes, so the offensive line goes. And as we know at Georgia and the SEC, as your offensive line goes, so goes your team. Carson Beck can't throw from a knee like some players are accustomed to talking about because it doesn't work that way in football. He can't throw from his back. Running backs can't find where they need to go. Bobo can't set up the offense to pass to set up the run and run to set up the pass without SVP doing his things. He is the most vital returning player to me because as he goes, the entire offensive goes. And no one's going to know it. There's going to be no stats. There's not going to be anybody talking about it except after the game.
Some people are going to know it, Clint. Some people.
We don't
What
know.
about NFL executives? Are they going to know it?
By the way, if he slips past 20, shame on you.
Oh, he'll slip, and there will be shame. There will be shame.
You're a moron if you do. That's my guy. Who's your guy for biggest returning producer?
I mean, he went offense, and he didn't go Brock Bowers. Write your letters to Locked On Bulldogs podcast, care of Clint Shamblin.
Comments right below. Go for it.
I'm going to go defense, and a lot of guys here you could talk about. There's a lot of guys.
Lots.
Some of them are uber talented. Like we're talking about alpha, mega, all-world, generational type talents. Georgia's got several of those on the defensive side of the ball.
Okay.
But there's only one guy on the defense that is a factor on virtually every play that is run from scrimmage. And he stands right in the middle.
Right in the middle of all the action.
Right in the middle. And his name is Jamon Dumas Johnson. You can call him Pops if you'd like. And he's the most important piece to this Georgia defense. He is the most productive player on this Georgia defense.
Yep, same one.
And he is maybe the most underappreciated dude on this Georgia defense, even sometimes overshadowed at his own position by other guys. But this is the alpha. This is the leader of the defense. This is the captain of the defense. This is the guy that is in charge of pre-snap things, is in charge of alignment. This is the guy that knows everybody's position. And then, oh, by the way, when the ball is snapped, this is the guy that has all of the speed, all of the athleticism, all of the talent, all of the toughness, all of the want to, and knows what every play is going to be before the ball is snapped. He's got all of the mental acuity and awareness that you could ever need to play the position of inside linebacker. At the college level, Jamon Dumas Johnson, one of my favorite players on this Georgia roster, one of the most important players on this team, and I think not the most talented player on the defense. He's not Michael Williams. He's not Malachi Starks. He doesn't have that wow factor. And when Michael Williams flashes, his lightning strikes are going to be brighter than Pop's. But again, when you go to most significant returning producer on the defense, you go to the guy that just watch the play and watch the guys unload off the pile at the end of the play and just count how many times you see JDJ coming out of the bottom of that pile, because
It's going to be
a lot. It's going to be a lot. He's everywhere on this defense. My most significant, but I mean, how there's so many names that you could go to.
Michael Williams returning, Nazir Stackhouse returning, Starks returning, Bullard returning,
Kamari Lassiter returning.
Lassiter. Which, by the way, if I had a second name to pick, I'd pick Lassiter, because if he takes care of half the field, do you know what they can do to the other half of the field? They can roll, they can blitz.
Just rotate those guys on in, by the way. Just rotate, which, by the way, I think heavy rotation coming to that corner spot. We'll talk about it on Friday. We'll talk about it on Friday. A lot of things we're going to be looking for in this game. A lot of things.
It's important.
We're going to
take notes.
You need to watch. Okay? You need. Now, I don't mean tune in.
No, I don't mean like.
Let's check out what's
No,
going on here.
you need to watch.
No. Don't be lazy.
Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that. All right, we got more to discuss for the 199 in the third segment right after these.
These are game time.
Game time.
Ooh, game time is fantastic because I don't know if you're aware. We are acutely aware, Daniel and I. You should be aware, too, that trying to find tickets to your favorite Georgia Bulldogs, it gets stressful. It gets hard.
It can be.
It gets expensive. It gets hard. It gets frustrating.
A little pricey. What if you need to get a couple of tickets? What if you need trying to bring multiple people to the game?
What if you need six tickets to a Kentucky game?
Looking for 6.
Looking for the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Looking for 6.
Well, it gets stressful, it gets hard, but don't fear, because Game Time is there to help you out. Game Time has flash deals, last-minute tickets, easy to find and buy tickets for every kind of event in your area, and the only thing you should be caring about right now is, again, college football. That's the only game in town. I don't care about anything else. Lowest prices guaranteed, event cancellation protection, job loss protection as well. Game Time is the place for last-minute ticket deals. Forget planning in months in advance. Game Time has deals on tickets right up to the day of the event. Get exclusive flash deals on tickets or for football, basketball, baseball, concerts, comedy, theater, and more. Game Time guarantee means you'll always get the best price. You find tickets in the same selection or section or row for less. Game Time will credit you 110% the difference.
That's more.
Hello. That's
free money.
Significantly more. Snag the tickets without the stress with Game Time. GameTime.co is where you need to go. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms and conditions
free
apply.
money. It's more free
All
money.
the free. Again, create an account, redeem the code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. All right, we have one left, and this is biggest shoes to fill. And let me go ahead and just. We're not choosing Carson.
We're not trying to feel anyone's shoes.
I don't want.
I thought that's
what
you were going to say.
Well, I don't have the robe on. By the way, $199. You know where you're at. $199.
Happy to have you.
Bonfire.com/store/199. Get over there. Glad you're here. Many, many more joining the 199, Daniel.
People flooding in every day.
Get us to that 7,500 before we get to Game Time on Saturday on YouTube. Go
creeping up.
It's
creeping up. Subscribe to the audio podcast. Make sure it's downloading to your device.
And go get that hoodie.
And
go
then
get that hoodie with the boys.
Just go check out the merch.
Okay, we're not choosing Carson Beck. Of course, he's the biggest.
Even though that's the answer. We want to clarify.
I'm telling you, the answer is Carson Beck. Okay,
we're gonna get cute with it. That's what he's saying.
That's our season playoffs and national championship ride on Carson Beck's right arm.
What if we told you that the shoes that he's trying to fill are the shoes of the best college football player of all time, the greatest college football player of all time
ever, back-to-back national championship MVP of every single playoff game that he played in?
And when they make a documentary about his life, they won't have to casually omit the fact that 40 of his teammates were arrested, and one of them was convicted of double homicide.
That's being generous.
They won't have to omit all of those details
when Kirby Smart says we have a rule on this team and we follow the rule, he'll actually mean it, because he won't be somewhere dressed scantily clad on a yacht, which we can neither confirm nor deny was in fact Brady Quinn.
We cannot. All we're trying to say is that the necktie, the knot on the necktie, was larger than normal.
It was to the collarbones. Okay. Here is
third segment. I love the in-season third segment. The in-season third segment hits different, Clint. God, wait till we get to that Saturday night show, y'all. The Saturday night show is coming. This week we will overreact to the Tennessee Martin game. It is the Saturday night overreaction show, and boy, I just tell you right now, I'm going to be firing off some takes that are like, I can just already feel it. You're being warned. If you're looking for a sensible analysis of what happened in the game, tune in somewhere else.
No,
that won't be what you get here.
One more time, when we put in the title, overreaction, we mean overreaction. Okay, great. Glad we got that out of the way.
Biggest shoes to fill that's not named Carson Beck, Clint. Where are we going?
Daniel, this is hard because we have so much returning production outside of quarterback.
We sure do.
The offensive line, cohesive all the way through. Wide receivers, cohesive and added more. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Lost not much.
No.
Not a lot.
Not a lot.
I mean, A.D. Mitchell, we love you. Fine.
We do. 100%. Fine. This is... I'm going here because of Carson Beck being off the table and because we have so much production elsewhere. Daniel, this might be part of the overreaction, but for the first time in 6 years, we're going to have a kicker that you and I don't know jack about.
It was on my list.
Okay.
It was on my list.
You can laugh at me.
Why would you?
Okay.
Who's going to score the most points on this team this year?
Thank you.
Are points good or bad?
Points are good.
Okay.
Points are good.
So the kicker matters more than anyone else on the team based on quantity of points scored?
And if you're talking about Auburn on the road, Tennessee on the road.
Excuse me. I was not warned I would need a bucket for this episode. So
warning had been gone. It's called the season, and that's not on me. That's on you. You're unprepared.
Fool me once.
Shame. We're talking road games against two SEC opponents. Mm-hmm. We're talking Kentucky, and you're telling me, well, Clint, we're gonna cakewalk through this. How Missouri doing last year?
How'd that go?
How
was that? Missouri was equally talented to us, right? That's how games work. The more talented team always just rolls through.
We just do it on paper, and then we just say the game's over.
Math thing.
A game is going to come down to a 42-yard field goal at some point.
I'll die inside. Ask Ohio State what happens when a game comes down to a 42-yard field goal.
There it is.
But see, he dropped it. He got hit in the end zone, Clint, and then he dropped the ball. He could have held on to it, but he didn't.
No, he did not.
He didn't hold on to it.
That's my biggest shoes.
Yeah, I mean, Pod Leslie's shoes are of a significant size. I'm going to say, and this is weird, because it's not often you say this. He was a candidate to be the biggest returning producer for me. And now I'm going to say that the person on this team that has the biggest shoes to fill is Javon Bullard.
Ooh, I don't hate this.
Because Christopher Smith did more for this team than you're giving him credit for, Georgia fan. I just need you to know that.
When there was a run to the alley, it was locked down because Christopher Smith came blaring from 20 yards back to shove it down their throat.
Christopher Smith did more for this team than you're willing to give him credit for. He did more for this team than his recruiting ranking would signify to you that he should have done for this team. Yep. Christopher Smith had some tremendously large shoes that now need to be filled, and the primary source, at least early in the season, from which those shoes are going to be filled is Javon Bullard. Somebody who, while safety is his natural position on a football field, somebody who has not played hardly any safety at the University of Georgia at the collegiate level. Javon Bullard played a significant amount of star at Georgia, didn't play hardly any safety at Georgia because guess why? Malachi Starks and Christopher Smith said, we're fine. We have this covered. But now, if Javon Bullard slides back into that safety position, as I imagine at least early in the season, we are going to see him do to solidify that spot with the most talented 11 that we can. I don't think Aguero is going to be ready.
Nope.
I think it's going to be Bullard. I think you're more likely to see Tyke at a role like star and not at the safety spot. And I think you're going to see Javon Bullard early in the season play a lot of safety. This guy's a very productive SEC football player.
That's right.
Once again, Ohio State, tell me about how productive Javon Bullard is. But he's productive at a different position. And so now he steps into a role where he maybe has the biggest shoes to fill on this team.
I don't hate this.
Stepping back to take over Christopher Smith's spot.
This is fantastic. This has been Locked On Bulldogs, part of Locked On Podcast Network. Come back for the banter tomorrow.
You're going to want to stay for the banter. You love the banter.
You love the banter. We will see you guys all then. Be well.